Hello everybody, my name is Tanya and welcome to my August wrap-up. Did you just want to be cuddled? Good job. Off you go then. So, read along August, success or fail? So, as you will remember, my TBR for the month of August, or read along August, was very ambitious. I joined a couple of quite hefty read-alongs for the month of August, plus I had some other things I wanted to hit. I didn't get everything done that I wanted to get done in the month, but I'm really happy under the circumstances what I did get done. My reading month was very interrupted this month. I spent the better part of the second week of the month in bed sick. I couldn't concentrate on anything, let alone the books that I was reading at the time. And so I was behind the 8 ball. Everything got shoved back a week, so I'm feeling like I did alright. So the first read-along that I was participating in was the War and Peace read-along. And originally this was meant to be a read-along for the entire month of August. After the first week, the schedule for this was scaled back and it became... Apparently there's now a War and Peace sized hole on my lap that the cat thinks she can sit in. We're now reading a volume a fortnight, so the new finishing date for this is September 21st. So I haven't finished this, but I am over halfway and I'm feeling pretty excited about that. As you will have seen, I've done a couple of discussion videos for the first 2 volumes. They do have some spoilers in them, so those of you who haven't watched those because you don't want any spoilers, I'm really enjoying it so far. It is dense and heavy going, but definitely enjoyable, so I'm thoroughly enjoying participating in this read along and I'm interested to see what's going to happen next because I have no idea at this stage. So the next read along that I was participating in for the month of August was the classical literature read along, and the first book for that was Homer's The Odyssey, which I did finish in the month and thoroughly enjoyed, and the companion that we read for that, the modern adaptation, was The Penelopiad by Margaret Atwood. So I finished both of these in the month and thoroughly enjoyed both of them. When I finished these and it was time to do a video on them, I had no voice. And couldn't film after being sick, and so it was put off, and now so much time's gone by that I'm thinking I'm just going to wait and do a whole wrap up of the classical read along books. They'll come at some point. I'm not quite sure at this stage what I'm going to do, but there is still a video coming about these. It just hasn't happened yet. And so the second title in the classical read along that we were doing is Ovid's Metamorphoses. And I haven't finished this in the month, but I am a significant party and I'm on page 382. I was trying to finish this initially over the weekend to see if I could get it finished in the month of August, but I was finding when I was trying to rush that my comprehension and my enjoyment of this severely decreased, and I decided that it just wasn't worth it. That's completely against the point of reading it. If I'm going to lose all my enjoyment of it, it's not worth it just to finish it for a read along. So I gave myself permission to scale back and to not push myself to finish and to just enjoy it. And so I am still planning on finishing this, and hopefully it won't take me too long into September before I do, and then I will have a video either on this or the Odyssey and this combined. We'll see what happens. And so the modern adaptation of this one we were doing is Girl Meets Boy by Ali Smith, and again I haven't got to this because I haven't finished Metamorphoses yet, but I am still planning on getting to this one too. So my next goal in August was to read the books that came in the previous Book Riot Quarterly box before the next Book Riot Quarterly box comes, and I got the email a couple of days ago saying it's shipped, so time is pressing. The first one of those that I had to finish was Please Ignore Vera Dietz by A.S. King, and this one I did complete. I enjoyed it. I felt that it was kind of building up maybe to something a bit bigger at the end, and then it didn't happen, and so that kind of fell slightly flat in that regard for me. I'm interested in reading more books by A.S. King because they are quite popular at the moment, especially championed by Ariel from Ariel Bissett. And then the final book I had to read from the Book Riot Quarterly box was The Killing Moon by N.K. Jemisin, and as expected I didn't get to this one. And the last book I had on my TBR for August was Saga Volume 3, which I don't have here because I did complete and return to the library for the people waiting in queue, and as with the first 2 volumes, it was excellent. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm quite pleased actually that this one leaves it on a better point, I think, than the first 2 volumes. I'm feeling that it's an okay place to leave it waiting for volume 4 to come out. So in the month of August I also completed 2 audiobooks. The first one I listened to was To Have and Have Not by Ernest Hemingway. This is my third Hemingway. I've read The Old Man and the Sea and also listened to The Sun Also Rises. I think it started off really strongly. I was really into it to start with and enjoying the story. The story is of a man named Harry Morgan who's forced into running contraband between Cuba and Florida. At the start of the book, he loses a lot of money and equipment in a fishing incident and needs something to keep himself afloat. And so that was really interesting. I was really enjoying it, but the latter end of the novel kind of veered off and we got additional characters put in that we were following, and I didn't really see the point to a lot of it. So in the end, it was kind of an okay read for me, but I'm definitely interested in reading some more Hemingway. And the second audiobook that I listened to for the month of August was I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings by Maya Angelou. I pulled both these audiobooks out of my audiobook TBR jar. Maya Angelou, of course, passed away earlier in this year, and so I found it quite ironic that I pulled her out of the TBR jar just months after her death. But the really freaky thing is my mother also has a TBR jar of audiobooks, and she pulled I Know Where the Caged Bird Sings out of her TBR jar only weeks after Maya Angelou's death. So as I put on my review on Goodreads, Maya obviously wanted to be heard, and it's quite fitting given that the audiobook I listened to was narrated by Maya Angelou herself, and initially she's got a really strange style of narration, so it took a little while to get used to her reading style, but I thoroughly enjoyed it in the end. This is obviously the first in a series of her autobiographies covering from her childhood up to about 16, I believe. The ending really makes me want to know what happens next in her life. I enjoyed the last hour, I think, the most of the whole thing, and so I'm interested in getting the next of her memoirs at some point in time. I don't know whether, I assume she's narrated the whole set, I'm not quite sure, I'll have to go and check that out, but in either case I am interested in seeing what happens next in her life. So these are the books that I physically have that I completed in the month of August, and it doesn't look like much, but there are the 2 audiobooks and Saga on top of this that I finished for a total of 6 books completed. But I did also read around 600 pages of War and Peace and 382 pages of Metamorphosis, so I think all in all it's a pretty successful reading month. So as always, thank you for watching, and I'm going to go and film my September TBR.